Sometimes revision can seem really difficult, especially right at the beginning, so I'm just going to show you today how you get started revising for your Geography GCSE. And I'm going to use the tourism topic as an example, but you can follow these instructions for any of the 6 topics that we study. The best way to start is to get all your resources around you. So a revision guide if you've got one, more importantly your own notes, and a couple of the sheets. We've got 2 of them here on this slide at the moment that you can see. You can see that we've got the checklist that you've been used to seeing all the way through, and it's got all the different parts of the syllabus, and then all in detail as well down here, all the different bits you need to know. I've laid this out for you as well in another way, and I've broken it down here into individual bits that you might need to know, kind of the introduction and the start of the topics. And then, of course, here we've got the case studies that you also need to know. You'll need to revise both the theories at the top and the case studies at the bottom. When you've looked at all of those, it's a really good idea to start by checking what you think your learning is. And we've seen these in class a lot, these checklists or PLCs. And they're simply a breakdown again of the topic. Here we've got growth of tourism. Here we've got the Butler tourist cycle. We've got the case study of Blackpool, the case study in Kenya, the case study for Antarctica, and the ecotourism study, which for us is also in Kenya. What you should do is rag rate yourself on each of these, how confident you feel. You could colour it in red if you have no confidence at all, you're really not sure about it whatsoever. You could colour it in yellow or amber if you think you know a little bit about it, but not that much. And if you're confident you can answer one of the longer questions on it, you could then colour that in green. Then what you should do is start with the red and the amber topics, bits of the topic that you're not so certain of, and start by revising them. There's no point in starting with the ones you already know just to make yourself feel good. Revision really needs to tackle the bits you're less certain on. So then what you do is you get your resources out for whichever topics you think you're slightly weaker on. Finally, with this sheet, you can see that I've put down many rows here. And the idea is that you can come back to the topic, rag rate yourself again and see how you're improving, or if maybe in some parts you're less certain over time, and it gives you an idea of how you're progressing in the topic. When you're revising, you really want to avoid just copying out your notes because it's been proved that really that doesn't help you remember information in the long term. So you need to rearrange the ideas that you've got, and one of the best ways of doing this is to use a mind map. And I've taken a slide from a Year 11 assembly we had just a few weeks ago to show, obviously this is not a geography topic, to show how you can organise all that information. Now if we bring it into an example for geography and the tourism topic, I've taken tourism in an extreme environment, and I've looked at one of the sheets and I've realised that there are 4 bits the syllabus needs to have covered so that I can be confident in the exam. So I've written those 4 around the title in the middle, tourism in an extreme environment. There's the case study that we happen to use, Antarctica. And then there are 1, 2, 3, 4 parts to this case study that you need to understand. So I've written those out, ready in a space for a mind map to write all of those around. You could do this on a revision card. I know a lot of you are quite keen on those. You could write it down onto a piece of paper. You get that sorted out, written down in a different way from your original notes, whether you're taking it from your book, from the revision guide, or from elsewhere. Get those written down, and that's you doing the revision to hopefully help you organise the ideas in your head and begin to remember them for the long term for the exams. However, if you stop just there and don't then try and recall that information and test yourself, you're really missing out, because the best way to try and keep that information in your mind all the way through up to the exams is to test yourself. There are many different ways of doing this. You could get your parents to help test you, your brother, your sister, or someone else who you're revising with, and that certainly works. But the other way of doing it is to practice exam questions, because then not only are you testing yourself and helping yourself remember the information, but you're also increasing and practicing your exam skills. I've just included 2 exam questions in this short video. There are many more, and again they're all there on the blog, they're all there on the AQA website. Here's the first one. Explain why extreme environments are attractive to tourists. So that's a 4-mark question. You need to make sure that you're avoiding just getting the level 1, and everyone should be aiming for level 2. Linking those ideas together showing why they are attractive to tourists, answering the exact question. And what I've done for you here is I've bugged the question as well. I've got a box around the command word, which is explain. So you don't want to be doing too much describing, you want to get onto the explain. Then I've underlined the keywords extreme environment, so you pick the right example, and why they're attractive, and I've underlined that as well. And then of course that's the B and the U done already of the bug, and the G is to go back and read it again. So you could attempt this exam question, then you could look at the mark scheme, which obviously I've put in front of you, and you can mark it yourself or then send it off to your teacher for that to be marked. And here also is an 8-mark question. Use a case study to discuss how well an extreme environment is coping with the development of a tourist industry. I'd also always recommend revising by attempting 8-mark questions, because they're obviously the most difficult, they're worth the most marks, and that'll test you the most. You'll find out your areas of weakness, you'll find out your areas of strength, and then you'll be able to revise better by being informed in that way. You can see this question from 2014. It's a bit of a tricky question because it's asking you, well, how well an extreme environment is coping with the development of a tourist industry. And that's why it's good to revise from these 8-mark questions, because not only do you have to recall all your knowledge and information that you revise, but then you have to put it in a particular way to answer the question. So you're practicing both recall and revisions and exam skills all in one. And so to sum up, what you need to do to get started on a revision is to gather your resources together, rate how you think your knowledge is already, start on the weaker areas, revise them, write out the information or arrange the information in a different way so you're not just copying it out, then practice exam questions, test yourself, and get those exam questions marked by your teacher so you know exactly how well you're doing. And after all of that, you get to be getting closer and closer to the grade that you are capable of. Good luck with all your revision.